Good morning, students. Today our class is English and we will study a new chapter, unit number 10, The Banyan Tree, written by Ruskin Bond. It is a beautiful story and I am reading textbook. There are two parts and I will read today first part of this story. Let's start with the paraphrase of the story, The Banyan Tree. The fight of the cobra and the mongoose is a classic drama often seen in India, and the outcome is largely the same. The mongoose is not immune to the venomous bite, but is faster and quicker in motion than the snake. The cobra assumes a posture of defense and attempts to reach the animal by a sweeping strike, but the quick moving mongoose jumps out to reach and comes at the snake from another direction. Before the snake can get into strike position again, this constant movement tries and discourages the snake, and the mongoose is finally able to leap in close and bury its teeth in the snake's neck, usually serving the joints of the vertebra. You must have seen a banyan tree. This is the story about what the author saw as a young boy when he was sitting in an old banyan tree in his grandfather's house. Part 1. Point 1. Though the house and the gardens belonged to my grandparents, the magnificent old banyan tree was mine, chiefly because grandfather at 65 could no longer climb it. Its spreading branches, which hung to the ground and took root again, forming a number of twisting passages, gave me endless pleasure. Among them were squirrels and snails and butterflies. The tree was older than the house, older than grandfather, and as old as Dehradun itself. I could hide myself in its branches behind thick green leaves and spy on the world below. My first friend was a small grey squirrel arching its back and sniffing into the air. He seems at first to resent my invasion of this privacy, but when he found that I did not arm himself with catapult and or air gun, he became friendly. And when I started bringing them pieces of cake and biscuit, he grew quite bold and was soon taking morsels from hand. Before long, he was delving into my pockets and uh, helping himself to whatever he could find. He was a very young squirrel, and his friends and relatives probably, though him, probably thought him foolish and headstrong for thrashing a human. In the spring, when the banyan tree was full of small red figs, birds of all kinds would flock into its branches. The red bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy, parrots, myna, and crows squibbling with one another. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place in the garden. Halfway up the tree, I had built a crude platform where I would spend the afternoon when it was not too hot. I could read there propping myself up against the tree and a cushion from the living room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Phil, and the story of Dr. Uh, Dolittle were of some books that made my banyan tree library. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the leaves at the world below, and on the particular afternoon, I had a grandstand view of the classic of the Indian wilds, a fight between mongoose and a cobra. So this part one is completed. Next class, I will study part 2, and this part 2 is very much interesting. You read yourself at home. Okay, see you in next class. Thank you.